So last year, Mkurugenzi Abel released a movie called Makosa yangu, and this is my review. Okay, so as we all know, or as many of you know, that last year Abel Mutua released a movie called Makosa yangu. So I bought the link, I watched it, and this is what I thought of it. Okay, so I think it's been a while since I enjoyed a Kenyan movie like this. And in terms of enjoyment, I mean, like from the beginning to the end, I was hooked. Okay. Makosa yangu is a 2 hour film. Okay. But it did not feel like 2 hours. It felt more like 30 minutes, or it felt like 10 minutes. From the first sequence to the last sequence, like I was all in. Okay. And which leads to my first point. The storytelling of this movie was out of this world. Okay, we know Abel. We know this is what he does. We know, like, when it comes to storytelling, this is it is his bread and butter. But to do it on a movie like this, like the movie feels like he's telling you a story, ni kama mmeka hapo na yeye mnapiga story. I think that really takes him to another level, when it comes to storytelling. We know his stories on YouTube and we know how he tells them, but to be able to have that same kind of command, or with different characters, with different over a period of time, right? Because we are talking about, like, they are different. We are different people. There's a lot of things that goes on set. So to still have that kind of control, where his story came out very, very well, I think that's an A+ for him. So for this Makosa yangu, I think the storytelling was out of this world. Like, you just get hooked from minute 1 to the 2 hour mark. Like, uko ndani, you don't even notice what's going on. Like, because when I was writing like notes on this and trying to find stuff to critique, I'm like, can I remember what? Because I was so in the movie that I don't even remember the point. I was just enjoying the movie. So the storytelling was really, really, really good. Another thing that has come a long way, because, okay, me, I've watched all of Abel's movies. I've watched GLL, I've watched Click Click Bang, and I've watched Makosa yangu. Okay, and if you've watched all his films, like the growth from GLL to Makosa yangu, especially in terms of cinematography, you can really, really tell. And that's why when I was reviewing Crazy Kena's movie, My Name is Omosh, like I said, some things is budget and maybe experience. Okay, because the cinematography from GLL to Makosa yangu is, like, like they really raised the bar. Like, this cinematography was like, I was like, wow. The scenes were scening, the places they were looking, the locations, Chef's Kiss. I don't know who found those locations, but it looked. And the other thing that I always say, these locations looked Kenyan. There was not place here where I was like, maybe this is not Kenya, or, oh, this does not look like Kenya, or maybe they were trying to look like Maju. No, 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 no. In this movie, every location looks like, oh, yeah, I was there trying to say, hapa ni wapi, hapa ni. And for me, like, I watched it twice. That's how good it was. I watched it twice, and I was looking for. I found myself, oh, hapa, I think najua hapa. I think najua hapa. So in terms of cinematography, I think he took it to a very different level. Okay, now let's talk about the acting performances. Okay, because this is serious. This is serious. So, the acting performance was there. Okay, the actors, when we kwanza Pascal and Melissa, Those are the two main characters, okay? And their roles, like they really understood what they were supposed to be, okay? And I'm going to tie this acting performances with the with the character development, okay? The characters have been developed so well, okay? And this coincides with how good the actors were, okay? Let's take for example Pascal. His story arc, his character arc, that's a different level, because it starts from him being, this successful guy, to him being, the nice guy. Every mother loves him, everyone wants to be a him, to now where he becomes horror and where he becomes devilish. Like that story arc, how it was written, and then how it was performed, like it was just, you are like, oh man, you start really wanting to be Pascal, then loving him, and then hating him kabisa. And you see that that's two things. That's how well that character was written, and two, how well Pascal performed it. So when it comes to performances, I think this is one of the best performances I've seen this year, in terms of acting, and then also from Melissa as well. Like she really took us there. Okay, when it was time for us to be happy, we were happy. When it's time for us to be sad, we were sad, and we were there with her. We were feeling the pain, those scenes of the scenes of where okay, no spoilers, but the scenes of where there was GBV, they were well done, okay? And like Melissa didn't overdo it, and she took us on that journey where you are like, okay, this is serious, like. And of course it didn't feel too much, because sometimes when you do GBV scenes, it can feel, you don't want to look at it, you don't want to see it, you are like, ugh. So I think what they did really well, they did well in representing GBV, but not, it didn't go to gross. It was just right, where you are like, oh, okay, I feel this, and Pascal should get what is coming to him. So I think those were the two outstanding characters, and that I attest to the performances and the character development. The arcs of the characters were really done so well. And of course we also have other standing performances, like Melissa's mother, Nafisa's mother. She also brought that African mother. When I saw her, I was like, this looks like someone's mom. So that character, she really brought it out. We also have Nafisa's friend. That character also came out well. So in terms of the acting performances, it was top, and they really brought it. Another plus for this movie is the sequences. Okay, here we had action sequences. We even had a motorcycle chase. Okay, and you see, one thing that I'm really appreciating with Kenyan movies now is how they're shot, okay, and how they are represented. Like us as Kenyans, we want to see Kenyan places, we want to see Kenyan movies. And Kitambo, one of the critics that I had with movies is, when you film an action sequence, Kenyans don't fight like Americans or Europeans, or we know how Kenyans fight. Okay, when you film something like a motorcycle chase, okay, there's a way I see motorcycles on the road, and if I don't see that represented, it will feel awkward. And you see, that's the same thing. That's the thing that Mkuru brought to this movie, because like the action sequences, it actually looked like a Kenyan fighting. Okay, the motorcycle chase, it didn't feel awkward, it didn't feel off. I was there, I was, even the motorcycle that lady got onto, and the chase was just, it can be very hard to capture such kind of things. And it came out so well, and it was such a plus that it took the movie to a different level. Maybe the only critique is he didn't do more of it. I wish I saw more action. I wish I saw more of those chases. It could have really, really, really grabbed me even more. But the instances which he done it, like, he did it so well. Even when in the torture let me call it the torture chambers, that Nafisa was in, like, it didn't feel too much. It didn't feel fake. It felt like this is something that actually someone might have. This is a room that someone might have in his house, and these are the things, because sometimes these vitu zinawezatokea. It's like it's drama, it's like it's acting, it's like it's a play. But how it was done, it looked like it felt real. I was getting scared. I was actually getting scared, right? And so the action sequences were done to a T. And that motorcycle chase was really, really good. So another plus for the movie, we really had the locations. Yeah, I think I've talked about the locations, right? That, like, the locations that were picked were top notch. Like the scenery, right? The house, Pascal's house. I don't know where that is, but hey, when we grow up, when we get rich, those are the levels that we want to get to. So in terms of the locations, those were really also done very, very well. I think I've also talked about the character development. Like, it's not only Pascal's character, but also Nafisa's character they were developed so well. Like, when the moments to love Pascal, you really loved him. When the moments to hate him, you really hated him. Also, Nafisa's character, from coming from a naive girl from wherever. No more spoilers, I promise. But from when she started the movie to when she ended it, like, it felt wholesome. It felt connected. It felt so good. All right. In terms of critic of this movie, like I've said, we didn't get more action. We didn't get as much of that catches. I wish there was more. I wish we did the action more. And okay, maybe I would say maybe sometimes the dialogue felt off, especially between Pascal and Melissa, Nafisa and the lady. There were those moments where it was like, for example, there was a scene in the car, and it was like, kidogo, if like it didn't add up. Let me say that's the only critic that I may have. That there were a few dialogues. It felt complicated, if that is what I may say. Sometimes when Pascal and Melissa were talking, the dialogue felt very, very very deep, very complicated, and so how it came together, it was feeling a bit off. You are like, I don't get it. See, understand? Nikama, they are not talking to each other, if that makes sense. But that's the only critic that I have of this movie. If I was to rate this movie 9 out of 10, I'd recommend to anyone, please buy and watch this movie.